Good morning, good morning, good morning, precious saints. On this very, very cold 28th of August 2024. So yeah, if you're in the Western Cape, you know it's cold. You're feeling it with me. Bless you. So this morning, I want to just continue with the scriptures of the tithe and who, why, and what we give. We have looked at Deuteronomy and Genesis, and we're also going to now move on to a little bit of the New Testament and go back to the Old Testament, because of course the New and the Old Testament are part of one incredible book that teach us Abba's ways and his statutes and things. So we are going to have a look now at Luke 18 verse 11 and 12. What I need you all to do is just grab your pen and paper, make your notes so that you've got these scriptures. We are going to read through them, but it's good for you to have them as well, and then you can read through them yourself and have Abba show you what he needs to show you. All right. So I want to read it in the Complete Jewish Bible. If there's anything confusing, then I will go over to the other. Okay, so verse 11, it says, the Parush stood and prayed to himself. Now the Parush is the Pharisee. The Parush stood and prayed to himself, "O God, I thank you that I am not like the rest of humanity, greedy, dishonest, immoral, or like the tax collector. I fast twice a week. I pay my tithes on my entire income." Now, what we're looking at there is obviously not him, bloating himself and priding himself before the Lord. But we see there that it is a requested thing. It is something. Now, you must remember the Pharisees and Sadducees followed the laws of Abba completely. And we see here that the Pharisee was following the law. It is what Abba requested, that he pay his tithe, and he pay his full tithe on all of his income, on all of his increase. We see that. Let's go to Matthew 23. Matthew 23, verses 23 and 24. My fingers are so cold. Okay, 23. Woe to you, hypocritical Torah teachers and Purushim! You pay your tithes of mint, dill, and cumin, but you have neglected the weightier matters of the Torah: justice, mercy, trust. These are the things you should have attended to without neglecting the others. Without neglecting the others. That is the part there. So we got to give tithes of things of value, okay? Mint, cumin, all of these things are things of value. But we are also to pursue justice, righteousness, holiness, and all these other things. But we are not to neglect the other. The other, it all needs to be done. We're not to neglect the other. That is Matthew 23, 24. Okay. We're going back to Deuteronomy. We've read it. The Deuteronomy 14:24 through 27, where it says that if your produce is too much for you to carry with you to the temple, then sell it for silver and make it silver. Once again, it is a financial thing. It doesn't only have to be produce. It can also be monetary, can be financial. But of course, I'm going to say it again. The tithe is not a financial thing. It's an attitude of the heart. It's an attitude of belief. It's an attitude of trust. It's an attitude of obedience, as opposed to purely a financial thing. Okay. Deuteronomy 14 from verse 28 and 29, it says, At the end of every 3 years, you are to take all the tenths of your produce from the year and store it in your towns. Then the Levi, because he has no share of inheritance like yours, along with the foreigner, the orphan, and the widow living in your towns, will come and eat to be satisfied, so that Adonai your God will bless you in everything your hands produce. So again, we're talking about the Shemitah year, the 7 years, etc., etc. And here he's talking about the 3rd year, because we understand that in the 3rd and the 6th year, it is what they call the poor tithe. Obviously, every year goes to the Levites as well, but in the 3rd and the 6th year, it goes to the poor, the foreigner, those that are in need. And then we see that that Adonai will bless you in everything your hands produce. There it is. So we bring these tithes to the, remember part of that, remember in years 1, 2, 4, and 5 is the tithe that comes to yourself, the saving. Then in years 3 and 6, the tithe that goes to the poor. Okay. And every year, obviously, the Levite gets, and the Kohanim get for the preparing and the maintenance of the temple, and the growing of the temple. Oh, sorry, it's very cold. Okay, so the tithe is the total increase. It actually means, tithe actually means 10%. It's your tenth. There isn't actually, in the Hebrew word, there isn't actually a word tithe. The word is actually a tenth. It says your tenth, bring your tenth, or it'll say bring a 1/40th or 1/60th. But the tithe, as we refer to it as tithe, actually is your tenth. All right. Deuteronomy 12:17 through 19. It says, you are not to eat on your own property the tenth of your grain, new wine or olive oil that you set aside for Adonai. You listen to that. You're not to eat it at your own property. Or the firstborn of your cattle or sheep, or any offering you have vowed, or your voluntary offering, your tzedekah, or your offering from your hand. No, you are to eat these in the presence of Adonai your God, in the place Adonai your God will choose. You and your sons, daughters, males and female slaves, and the Levi who is your guest. And you are to rejoice before Adonai your God in everything you undertake to do. As long as you are living on your property, take care not to abandon the Levi. Sure. So here again, we are told that our tenth, we are to take to the place where we are being taught. We are not to eat that at home. Okay, we are to take it to the place where we are taught. We are to take it to the Levi. We are to take it. So in other words, for us, we are to take it to our church. We are to take it to the place where we are being fed. Okay, and of course, the Levi is those who are feeding us. It is the teacher who is feeding us. Any person who is in that position that is feeding us spiritually and that is helping us grow in our spiritual walk, that is a Levi. Anybody that is helping you mature and live better before Abba, okay, and is attaching you to Abba through solid teaching, that is a Levi. Okay, so I'm just checking my time again. Always checking my time. I don't want to run over like I did the other day. All right, so now we're going to go to Leviticus. Yes, I know. But we're going to go to Leviticus because we're going to have a look, see how in Leviticus, Abba calls for the 10th as well. Leviticus 27, verses 30. Okay, Leviticus 27 verses 30, he says, all the 10th given from the land, whether from planted seed or fruit from trees, belongs to Adonai. It is holy to Adonai. Sure. Excuse me. So there you see, it belongs to Adonai. All the tenth given from the land, whether from planted seed or fruit from trees, belongs to Adonai. It is holy to Adonai. This is something as well that we have got to see, and I'm going to bring it up again later, and I don't want to actually run ahead of myself, but I'm going to say it now. We're not giving to man. We're giving to Abba what he requires of us to give. So our money, our hard-earned whatever, is not going to a man. Not because Abba needs it. Not because Adonai needs it. Not because God needs it. Go and read Psalm 50 again. Okay, Psalm 50 verse 13 made me cry like a baby for about 3 weeks. Because in Psalm 50 verse 13, he says, if I were hungry, would I come to you? Would I ask you to feed me? Because he is the owner of everything. He is the creator and the owner of everything. Everything. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He doesn't need it. He wants the attitude of our heart right. There are certain things on this earth that need finance and need things to be able to function properly. Then he requires for us to be obedient and to give. That is why he wants us to give. So is that his kingdom can be expanded. Not so as that some guy can buy another big jet plane, so as that he can jet all over the world. Not so as that someone can purchase a mansion that is so big that he wouldn't know if there were 20 people in his home. Certainly not. Not for that reason at all. But Abba does call us to give, so as that the Levi, the teacher, can be comfortable and doesn't have to worry about other things and can put his time and his effort into learning and being in the presence of Abba, where he can seek his face and learn more, so as that he can teach the others, so as that they too can come to the place where they are living in the will of God the Father. That he requires, because the Levi has to live, because the teacher has to live, the pastor has to live, the apostle has to live. These people that are bringing the word of God to you have to live. And it is God's desire that we give to them, so as that they can continue growing in Abba and then teaching us, so we too can grow. That's, you know what, guys, that's Ephesians 4, that he has given the fivefold ministry, so as that they can train the saints. That fivefold ministry, that is their job. It is to spend time before Abba. They should not have to worry about finance. That doesn't mean they need to live in a great big huge mansion of a house and drive the most expensive and fanciest cars and jet set all over the world. It doesn't mean that. It means they have to be comfortable. They have to have what they need to survive. And then they can spend time in the Word and growing, so as that they can then in turn feed. Sure, that just came out of nowhere. Wow. Yeah, it came from the fact that it's all Abba's, and we just have to give as he commands. We have to give as he commands, because he doesn't need it. But us living on this earth and bringing the kingdom to earth needs it. Okay, so I have run out of time. But until we meet again, be blessed. And remember to always be a blessing.